Well, my name is Dr. Yvonne Murray-Larrier, and I am the founding president of GCSCORED. And with me is
Dr. Geneva Fleming, the vice president for GCSCORED.
Okay, and we have these distinguished ladies. Would you please introduce yourselves?
Yes, I am Martha McVannel-Erwin, and I work as a school counselor here in Florida.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm Dr. Terry McVannel-Erwin. I'm the chair of the Social and Human Services program at Florida Southwestern State College.
Welcome.
Wonderful, welcome.
Yes, well,
So glad you're joining us for this conversation this morning.
yes. And so we just ended our 3-day workshop. The title of the workshop was the Social Emotional Wellness Training, Utilizing the Cultivating Seeds System Framework to Increase Mental Health Resources. What drew you to this title and this workshop?
Do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. I was really interested in the workshop because we have a youth development track and a youth development certificate in our program. So I was really interested in finding ways of maybe infusing this information into our program for our students so they have these skills when they graduate from our program. But I was also interested in this on a personal level because I've been going through a grief process and have really not taken the time to process that and work through that. And as both of you stressed during the training, we need to take care of ourselves first before we can help someone else.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to take advantage of that on a personal level as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And for me, I work in the schools, and here in Florida, we have established mental health teams, school-based mental health teams, and it seems that we're focusing a lot on mental health issues and trying to assist the youth in getting help and helping the parents find the help needed. But there's not enough focus on wellness. And there's such a huge stigma against mental health or mental health care. And so I thought that learning a way to incorporate wellness would be beneficial. And as we've worked this week, starting with the self is really important. We do have some social emotional programs in our schools, but I don't think they're being utilized enough. So I think our children and youth really need that sound foundation, and to be able to focus on wellness is really, really important.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
Now, to what degree, for both of you, I heard Dr. Terry, you talked about looking for an opportunity to infuse some social emotional wellness content in your curricula and, your goals. So share with us the extent to which your goals were met.
Oh, well, if we could go over 100%, it would be 101 at least.
Oh, wonderful.
It was such an incredible, moving experience. And as someone who has led groups in the past, I was really amazed at how quickly our group moved to a working stage where we had such a level of trust with one another and such a level of closeness at the end of the training that we literally didn't want to leave. We were all kind of delaying, even though we had a place that we needed to be.
Right.
We wanted to still be together because we'd had such an amazing experience.
Yeah. Why I want to follow up on that. Why do you think that was? That we were able to move from the forming to the norming to the working so quick in 3 days?
Yeah. Well, I think there were lots of reasons. One of them is right up front, we all signed a confidentiality agreement. So we were all in agreement that this space was going to be a safe space that we created together. And I think we all came with good solid ideas of why we were there and eager to accomplish our goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think both of you as leaders kind of helped us get to that place by being so open and willing to go with the flow and encouraging and supportive. It was just the ideal environment for moving in a good direction very quickly and accomplishing those goals.
Good.
Thanks for sharing that.
And to add to that, I think too that it helps that the participants we are helpers. We
That's
are
true.
either studying to be professional helpers, or we are helpers, or we were born into roles where we stepped up in our families to be helpers.
Right.
So I think that really helped as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to add one more thing.
Go ahead, yeah.
This was an extremely diverse group of people.
It was.
It's not like we came in with a lot of commonalities. We had students all the way up to people with PhDs, and many of us at different developmental levels in our lives.
Yes.
Nonetheless, we all found common ground and ways to
Yes.
connect.
That's a very good observation.
Yeah.
So there was academic with variety. There was gender variety. There was racial variety.
Cultural.
Yes, we had it was very diverse.
Very.
I think all the different categories of diversity were a part of that group. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then that speaks to, and this is off the topic, but that speaks to diversity can be achieved.
Yeah.
Growth and development could occur in a diverse setting.
Yes. And that the materials are useful regardless of.
They're culturally responsive.
Relevant and
Yes.
responsive.
And that's one of the things, that's one of the foundations or tenets of the CSS framework, the Cultivating System framework, is that it is culturally responsive.
Yes.
And so we saw that in operation. That's exciting.
Yes.
That is really
Thanks for
exciting.
pulling that out.
Thanks for
Sharing
observing that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So our other question is, tell us about your experiences as you included the extended learning activities or opportunities. What was that like for you guys?
For me, that was kind of difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a processor, but not a verbal processor.
Mm-hmm.
So where Terry's a verbal processor, and so we would leave knowing that we wanted to do this work on ourselves, and I'm in my head, and she's verbalizing, and we've been together almost 22 years. So there's we have a lot of common life experiences. We talk and share a lot. And so for me then, I'm trying to process for myself. And writing is not my favorite thing to do. And I didn't bring a computer, but so I was just kind of outlining things, and then I would go to sleep and kind of dream about things and process things, and then come back in the morning to do some more work or to reflect on what I've done and so on.
Okay.
Yeah. And so for me, even though we met from this time to this time, I actually worked from this time till the next time, either verbally processing things, writing things, doing things on my computer. The workshop did not end at the end of the day for me. I continued to process things. And even at that moment when I thought, okay, I think I've got everything, then I come to another group and it's like, oh, I have some more stuff I need, I need to keep digging a little more. Yeah, so it really challenged me to keep looking, keep making connections. And so even though it was X number of hours, it was
Beyond.
all day.
Yes.
Because of the whole reflection
Exactly.
aspect of it all.
Yeah.
And there are other things that occur in your life that would cause you to reflect on the learnings that you got during the classroom time,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
or the book time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a process that anyone, anywhere, any age can engage in?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's not that the process was complicated. In many ways, it was very simple, but I think it was the simplicity that created this space for really diving deep into things. It kind of provided a framework for building and doing your work.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think it's very accessible for most age groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Which is one of our aims.
Exactly.
You know, in as much as there is a shortage of mental health professionals and counselors, you mentioned, we were talking about caseload size the other day,
Yes.
and you mentioned what appears to be the norm, more like 1,000, you know, per practitioner. You know, how realistic is that for a person to have such a grandiose caseload? How effective might one be? So we're thinking that, or believing that this reconceptualized approach could be, should be, want to be more usable to anyone and can be implemented in any setting.
Yes.
So,
yes. Well,
yeah.
and in what I like, and I guess as you're saying that, we have a social emotional learning program, as I mentioned earlier, that can be easily taught by a classroom teacher with a class of 12 to 30 students.
Right.
But the instructor, the teacher, needs to be well.
Yes.
Yes. They need to be rumerized.
They need to be rumerized.
Yes.
Exactly.
Go through the RUMERTIME process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think coming back to how did we get to the working stage of the group, we've all kind of prepared ourselves to be there.
Right.
And to me, it's an individual process. And so, depending on where a person is in their own personal working stage or developmental stage, it would make a difference as to how this could be utilized. I'm looking at continuing the training.
Good.
And seeing how I can incorporate that in my district, district-wide, and potentially in my school. But understanding that it needs to start at the top. The administrators need to understand and be rumerized.
Yes.
as then do
Absolutely.
the instructors and the teachers, before we can let it filter down into the soil to the roots of the students.
Exactly.
And the community members,
Exactly.
the family members.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is in line with, that African proverb that we shared,
Yes.
that the ruin of a nation starts in the home of its people. So it starts with the big people. It starts with the parents. So the leadership, the administrators in the school system are like the parents, of the children in that system. Just as parents, are the responsible people in the home for the children there. So I think that's a wonderful approach to start with leadership. It's essential.
Right.
Yes.
And so you have to, and when you think about, because the cultivating seed system framework is we use an agricultural metaphor, and the adults, like we're talking about, we call them sowers.
The sowers.
And in order for a sower to be designated as a sower, they have to have seeds, and we want people to have the right types of seeds.
Yes.
Right? And so, if we want the kids to have the right types of seeds, and we want the soil to be implanted with the right types of seeds, then the sowers have to come prepared with the right types of seeds.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So your focus on the sowers, the leadership.
Exactly. Is important.
That's right.
And so as we do the leadership, and then we also make sure we do work with the the families and the communities, the teachers, all the school personnel. They are the sowers.
Yep.
And if the sowers are not, if they don't come prepared with the seeds, we're not going to have a good produce.
Right.
That's right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Every piece matters
Mhm.
at every level. Every
Absolutely.
piece matters.
Yes. Absolutely.
Everybody has a role to play. So, any wrap up words? Any thing you'd like to share in terms of your experience this week?
Oh gosh. Well, just that it was an amazing experience. I'm so glad that I signed up for the workshop and went through. And honestly, I would have loved to have done this for another full week. It was just such a wonderful experience that, I would come again.
Good. We would love to have you again. Yes, love to have you guys again.
Absolutely.
What else, Mark?
Well, just kind of piggybacking off of that, I think I even put on my evaluation form that I would have appreciated minimally, the first part of it, face to face.
Yeah.
Because I'm that kind of person,
Yes.
more face-to-face kind of person. And then when you were talking about your summer camp, I'm thinking, oh.
It was a letdown.
That's for families. Oh, I thought maybe, we could go and have like a full 2-week full immersion and just be totally bathed in all of this wonderfulness.
Yeah.
And we might do that, because we're growing, and as needs arise, we try to meet the demands of those needs.
Yeah.
So, and how we have been expanding is we provide a service, and out of that we see a need, and then we create, we create a product or a service to fill that need, because our goal is to increase access. And so if we go somewhere and we see that this is something that somebody needs, we're going to come up with an idea that helps to increase the access.
So we either recognize it or there's a request.
Yes.
So we've gotten requests to do certain things.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, that's how the summer camp came about. A parent, was having an experience.
was having some difficulty with their child who was suicidal. And this is a 9-year-old. And they took the child to a traditional mental health program, day camp, and they did not feel that they were engaged as a parent. They didn't feel that they knew what was happening with the child during the camp time. They felt isolated, and still at the end of those 10 days, they did not feel equipped to help their child move from that space of imbalance to balance.
Yeah.
And but that person also uses the RUMERTIME process and started using the RUMERTIME process and said, oh my gosh, this is working.
Yes.
This is helping.
Yes.
And they said that, they were in a financial position to get it started, and so they gave a large sponsorship.
In fact, they offered. They're like, I'm sure other parents can. If it's helping me, other parents can benefit from this, and I'm willing to fund, a portion of this. If you all can do this, create a camp. And that's how that came about.
Wow.
So
that's talking about increasing access and filling the need. When as we move, right, and there's a spiritual connection and a spiritual metaphor here. When you move in faith, the doors open.
Yes.
yeah,
If you sit back
yeah,
and not do anything, you're not going to see what needs to happen. You're not going to see the needs that are out there. And so we're moving. Every step we take is a faith step, and we see it we see God just keep parting the waters and creating opportunities, and so that's how we're moving.
Yeah.
You know, and we're very mindful and intentional about the work we're doing, because we don't take it lightly, and we know this is not just our work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're very, 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 very clear on that. And so when we are invited to go into a space, a physical space or location, we know that the people who come don't just happen to come. And so their lives are now a part of our lives, and we are responsible. We are responsible for what we put out. You know, we're not going to feed people with herbicides or pesticides, right?
Yes.
We're planting seeds, and we're
Essential
nurturing
growth
and
elements.
exactly
All those
the
things
essential
that
growth elements.
help individuals become whole.
Yeah. So would you recommend this program to others? And
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
I would as well. And I guess I'm just reflecting back on the group and just amazed by the life experiences of each person and how that highlighted the need for this kind of program.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You sit in a room with people. I had sat in the room with these folks for 2 days, and on the final day when I heard their story, I was blown away. And then things started making sense to me. Yeah, so it was amazing.
And we only imagine this. We only did plot number 1.
That's just the first.
That's just to recognize.
Yes.
Yes.
There are 5 plots, and there's 4 more plots to go, and that's
Right.
just the first. We were just helping everyone to recognize, to
Increase their
identify.
awareness,
Just
self-awareness.
kind of to clean the forest.
Yes.
To clear the forest or to prepare the land.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We haven't
The soil,
started.
yes.
We haven't started digging
Soil.
yet.
We haven't started digging it. And
Just clearing.
Yeah.
plot number 2 is understand, which is digging deeper.
Right.
And so imagine.
This is. Hi. 1 second. Have a seat. We'll be right with you. Down next.
We'll just edit that out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But so imagine we have 4 more plots to go, because we do understand, and then once you've recognized and understood, then you know how to manage.
Yeah.
And so those are the steps. Very progressive. And so we absolutely look forward to continuing to work with you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
It's been great, and I'll follow up with you as well. You mentioned your original thought about infusing some of this in your courses, which is something I've done just this semester.
Okay.
So created a personal professional development course for the purpose of preparing the student for the world of work, but working on themselves first.
Absolutely.
Before they can be helpful to anybody else, they need to be comfortable in their own stuff, knowing themselves first, knowing what makes them tick, why they think the way they do, recognize the way they interact with others, with themselves and with others, and just to come have the awareness that whatever history they're bringing to the table, if they have stuff, it needs to be dealt with. You cannot just sweep that under the rug. You need to be aware.
Exactly. I was just about to say, because none of us can erase all of who we've become.
No.
Right.
But the key is you have to become aware. You have to do the work to help you become aware. And then you have to start understanding it and then managing it.
Absolutely.
You cannot go into any kind of relationship and expect it to be healthy if you're not willing to, first of all, do your work.
Your own
Yes,
work.
absolutely.
Exactly.
You know, and we have that, it's so prevalent in our society where people want to operate and be in relationship in a microwave kind of way. Let's just do this quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not, it's something external to me, right? I'm going to operate in a relationship, but I'm going to operate from an external kind of, stance.
Yeah, yeah.
And that only creates the level of anxiety our society is experiencing, 1 in 5 children and adults, and the level of conflict in relationships, so yeah, it has to start with us first.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jackson says, with the man in the mirror.
Exactly.
You want to say something?
Well, and what just popped into my head is that hurt people,
Hurting people hurt
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I think if everyone looked in the mirror, they could look at their own hurts. We've all experienced hurts and pains on various levels, and if we're not managing those, it's like we're pouring a little bit of oil or other pollutants into the soil,
Yeah.
and then the seeds that we're sowing are
Corrupt.
not that healthy.
Exactly.
Yes,
They're going to be
yes.
corrupted and defective
You
and
got the picture.
not going to produce what we want it to,
Good fruit.
optimal. It's not going to produce optimal fruits or vegetables or people.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Any
So-
parting words?
I want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And those are my
Absolutely.
parting words.
Yes.
Thank you all
all.
for coming,
Yes.
for fully participating,
Absolutely.
and for taking the time to join in this conversation
Yes,
this
this
morning.
conversation.
My pleasure.
It's been
Thank
nice.
you. Hugs.
Yeah.
Thank
Love
you
you.
so much.